You are worthless.
Wait, what?
You are completely lacking in every way.
Where is this coming from?
There is no value in you at all.
I need help.
There's something I do that people may find really strange. What I do is I say a lot of negative traits about myself whenever reality strikes. I haven't found a woman yet. Well, I am fat and I don't really go out much. Of course, who would really want me? I tried something, but it didn't really turn out so well. So I guess I shouldn't really ever try to do anything again. People hear me say this and they believe I hate myself because I say these things. They say I have no self-confidence or self-esteem. But in actuality, it's the opposite. I see it more as a way to create my own humility. Humility isn't about devaluing yourself, nor is it about negatively affecting one's self-esteem. I know sometimes people use the concept of humiliation as a negative term, to where they inflict it on someone else so that they feel foolish or ashamed. Oftentimes, being humiliated means to lose respect. Respect for yourself and respect from others. But humility can be where most growth happens, because it instead can be a way to get rid of shame. Shame is usually used to mold people into a way of thinking, so that way you can guilt them into doing what you want. It usually stems from a form of conditional love. You do this for us, and we'll love you in return. That shame is often masked as pride. Pride can be good in certain circumstances. The only time when it's not is when it's arrogance. Pride can lead you to developing an ego, and sometimes when our ego is damaged, we usually feel ashamed of that, and so we seek a way to restore it. The difference, though, is that this shame is not teaching us to become better. It is shame that is sourced through pride, and so seeking to restore ourselves through that shame will only lead to being shamed again. The true way to get rid of shame that is caused by pride is by looking at a few things. Is what causes damage to my pride hurtful to me? Secondly, is it true? And third, if it is true, can I learn and grow from it? And this last part is important because if you don't, then you're only going to get shamed again. That there is what true humility is. It comes into play when we are building our pride and our confidence. Plus, if what was potentially damaging to us was not true, then usually it's a reflection of the other person's prejudices. And oftentimes it's best just to let them do their thing, and you let go of it. Either way, it's humility and the shame is gone. People tend to conflate pride with self-esteem and self-love. But self-love says I can handle whatever comes at me because I want to be better. Whereas self-loathing ends up being I either need to prove myself or I deserve to suffer. And that is why I always tell myself these things. Because I need to have that inner conversation so that I can determine if it is hurtful to me, if it's true, and if I can learn from it. Thus creating my own humility to grow from. I feel that I can handle things like that because I hated myself for so long. I hated myself for so long that there's nothing anyone can ever say to me that is more hurtful than what I said to myself about myself. And I feel that I put enough work in to understand that most of it isn't true. And the stuff that is true, it's funny and I can own it. And when people call me out or tease me about certain things, I can be like, yeah, that's true, that's funny. I'm still working on it though. And I think that's just kind of one of the strongest things you can do, which is learning how to take a roast. This is why humility always leads to growth and learning. It gives you an avenue to seek change. Because if you change nothing, then nothing will change. So even if it's easy to say no one cares about what I do, I need to remember that they have no reason to care about what I do. I have to be the one to put the care into what I do. And this applies to everything, everywhere. So if you feel sad about people not noticing, it's not because they don't care. It's just because they didn't notice. There will be people who see and value your contributions, and it may take years before they see it. But at this moment, the most important thing is that you see and value them now. If you wait for others to validate you, you're just going to be miserable. You may be somebody who has so much to contribute and so much to give and so much worth, and people just don't see it yet. And they may treat you like you won't bring anything to the table. You won't do this, you won't do that. They'll say this to you, but keep in mind that this is a them problem. This is kind of something I noticed recently while trying to work in content creation. A lot of times we tie our self-worth to the work that we do. When we see something not do as well as we've done previously, it makes us feel horrible. However, when it comes to a corporate world, it is futile to try and compare your self-worth to how well your product does. Because your passion may not be what gains the most revenue, and so it will be shunned. But you know what? So long as you're able to speak to someone and help them through something dark, then I think it makes it all worth it.